Hello. You know that saying that you often feel like if you don't cry, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. That's the idea that I want to share with you tonight. So it's totally crazy. The things that have happened in my family and my family's life sometimes sound like something out of a movie. Coming home one evening and showing up to the house, and there's 5 sheriff's cars around the house, and we lived out on 20 acres. It was isolated, and suddenly there's 5 sheriff's cars all around that. I was totally flabbergasted. How is this my life? How is this going on? It's almost sounds like I'm starting a comedy routine. How is this my life? So I walk in because I'm in a panic, right? Not only are there 5 sheriff's cars surrounding my house, but my baby boy's inside. My baby boy is inside and I don't know what's happening. So as I'm hopping out to look at these things just to panic and see what's going on, I walk in and it's like a coffee circle. Everybody's just talking. Everybody is chatting. My husband is there. They're all standing in the big farmhouse kitchen and they're just talking. I'm having this heart attack and they're just talking. Now, I am part of this scenario. So at that time, my husband was still struggling with substance use disorder. He had, in the state of Colorado, he had every right to purchase some marijuana plants and was growing them in the backyard. And I had gone to the sheriff and said, what can I do about this? I was looking for help anywhere that I could find it. I just didn't realize how to get the real help that I needed because I was contributing to the problem. I was an ugly, angry, crazy, yelling, nagging, screaming wife. And I don't think I did anything wrong by going to the sheriff, but I also didn't get anywhere near the help that I needed. So this is for you. If you have reached out trying to get help and you didn't get what you needed, or you don't even know what you need, but you are loving someone who is struggling with an addiction, there are a lot more resources out there. So when we talk about this, I walked into the kitchen. They said hello. They explained what they were doing. Luckily, my baby was still asleep. Everything was happening. But guess who was angry and crazy? It was me. I was angry and crazy, and the sheriff, all they could do was all they could do. They said, "Ma'am, are you being restrained from leaving? Are you being abused? Is your child being abused? Is something going on that we should know about? Is there anything illegal going on?" That's all the sheriff can really take care of. That's not the plan that God has for your marriage. You being in a marriage where both of you are unhappy, both of you are miserable, because why do people actually use substance, use pornography, do workaholism or any ism? Why do they do that? It's because they don't feel connected. They don't feel loved. They don't feel cherished. They don't feel that they're in a space that they can really receive. And there's a lot of components to that. There's childhood trauma, there's some expectations, there's things on how you grow up. And a lot of people will say, well, he's growing some pot plants. What kind of big deal is that? For some people, it's not a big deal. For some people, 2 glasses of wine are fine. You know, I'm talking to you as wives, as mothers, as women. You know if there's a problem or if it's just part of a lifestyle. There's something different. So addiction is defined by, does this take over every waking thought and every moment? Do they put even things that they love and care about behind getting to their addiction? So if you're loving someone where you know this is more than just a couple beers on the weekend, this is more than just staying a couple hours late at the office, where you know that this is outside of the boundaries of God's providence, that they have put this above everything else, this is for you. What we're doing is we're offering the grace and recovery framework. And that's a framework where we look at what your goals are for your marriage and how you, just one person, can make some changes, can make things shift, can look at this and see where you have lost your identity, where you have given up who you are to try and fix the situation. So I'm Tanya. I have been in recovery for over 20 years, and mine is not about substance use disorder. Mine is about codependency, love addiction. I would call myself more of a co-addict. I would come to my husband in such a needy, insecure state that it was almost like drinking him. If I couldn't get enough, I would get angry. I would pressure. I would rage. I would do all of those things to get enough. And it still wasn't enough. He could never fill my cup completely. So in the Grace and Recovery Framework, we back up to biblical principles, knowing that God has a plan for us, knowing that each person has needs and they have emotions, and how to get those needs met without doing what I did, becoming a rageaholic, forcing people to bend to my will, becoming so controlling that it was almost impossible to be in the house with me. It's taken a lot of work, a lot of coaching to get to where I see that I had a part in this. There are the 4 C's, and you're saying 4 C's. I thought there were 3 C's. So if you've been in any of the rooms at all, there is, you can't control it. You didn't cause it and you can't cure it, but you sure do contribute to it. And I was contributing in a very non-positive, negative way. It took me years to look at how I was contributing and what I needed to do to change. I want to cut that time for you. I want to give you the opportunity to get your life back. Many of you are exhausted, tired, worn out, unable to keep going because you've not only been carrying your life, you've been living your loved one's life, your children's life, managing the household, going to work, doing all these things, making sure that nobody knew there was a problem. Our life got significantly better when our circumstances forced us to face the reality there was a problem. Not only was I loving someone with an addiction, my husband was loving somebody with an addiction, somebody who was trying to feed off of him. In the Grace and Recovery Framework, we help you recover who you are, who your partner is, what dreams you have. And I created this program for 2 specific reasons. 1, because God asked me to serve women, and 2, because I wanted a different legacy for my children. If you want a different legacy for your children, stay tuned to these channels. We are going to put out what the Grace and Recovery Program is all about, how you can connect, and the community that we're building around that. So again, I'm Tanya Joya. You can find me over at tanyajoya.com, this channel that you're watching right now. And we're going to, in the next couple of weeks, uncover more and more about the Grace and Recovery Program. So I look forward to seeing you there.